Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maureen O'Connor from Quilters Heaven in Northbrook, Illinois, and I am the Opinionated Quilter. Today's episode number 177 is choosing fabric for your quilt. This episode was inspired by a video I saw from So Yeah Quilts, and the title was, "You Are Ruining Your Quilts." Besides the fact that I find the title very incendiary, I also think his approach is much too simplistic. His approach is choose a focus fabric, look right and left, and that means choosing more fabric from the same collection, and then choosing blenders from the same manufacturer so they all match perfectly. I disagree. Surprise, surprise. Behind me, I have my Weaver Fever that Linda picked the fabric for. And as you can see, there is no focus fabric. There is a black background. There's 4 of one color light to dark and 4 of another color light to dark. And that's what the quilt is made up of. Linda was inspired by this focus fabric, and that's how she came up with the teal and the raspberry color. And I think she did a fantastic job. I love the quilt. Let's take a break. I'll show you some more quilts. Choosing fabric is supposed to be fun. It's part of the quilting process. I do urge you to watch my episode number 71, which is choosing fabric with Linda. And we chose the fabric for this quilt, and I absolutely love it. I think it turned out great. Now, I took the quilt process, choosing fabric for quilts, into 2 categories. One is the run-of fabrics, like the Weaver Fever, and the other is choosing a focus fabric and picking go-withs like the So Yeah video. When someone comes in and needs help choosing fabric for a project, the first thing we say is, what pattern are you using? Because that makes a difference as to how many prints you need, how many solids you need, or blenders, and where in the quilt they're going to go. The second thing we want to know is, how many fabrics do you need? And then we go from there. If it's a run of fabrics, like the Weaver Fever, it's value that's the most important. When you put your 4 of the same color together, light to dark, it should be evenly light to dark. You shouldn't have 2 super light and then a much darker next to it. One thing that can possibly help you is taking a photo with your phone and then changing it to grayscale. And then you can see if you're going evenly light to dark. And it can take a little while, saying, oh, those 2 are too close in value, and pulling another one, but it should be fun. It's part of the quilting. Another one that's a run of fabrics that I've done is the diamond lights. This is that Derek Lockwood pattern, and this was my color combo, which, surprise, surprise, was picked by Linda. I also love this one. Hopefully one of these days I'm going to get all these quilted. And the other one you've seen of mine that I don't have out right now is the Amish Bargello, and that is all solids. But with these runs of fabric and small squares, you don't want any large scale prints. You want solids, reeds like solids, and small prints. An example is this one that's a run of fabrics, and this has a lot of prints in it as opposed to the as opposed to the Diamond Lights and the Weaver Fever. You can see the prints in here, but they're small scale prints. If you tried to use this fabric in this quilt, you would have some that look more green, some that look more purple, and some that look more teal. So you wouldn't get the unified band of color that you get with the small prints. Now here is an example of pulling a focus fabric and then go withs. And as you can see, my focus fabric is a beautiful Kay Fawcett fabric with lots of different colors in it. This is an old Trudy Hughes pattern, and she actually only used 4 fabrics for her quilt, but there are so many beautiful colors in here, I changed out some of them so that I could use more colored fabric. So when I talked about saying that I disagreed with pulling the go withs from the same fabric manufacturer so they match perfectly, I think they look better when they don't necessarily match perfectly. You may not be able to see this on camera, but trust me, this yellow is not exactly this yellow, but they look nice together. This little touch of green is not the same as this green, but they look nice together. And that's the whole thing that I like about pulling fabrics and pulling them from different manufacturers. I think you get a more dynamic quilt doing it that way. And there's always fun to put a zinger in for pop. And an example, I don't really have a zinger in here, but here's an example of one of my world's greatest scrap quilts that's all black, white, and gray, except for I put this beige in here. And to me, that beige really lightens it up and makes it a much more dynamic quilt than if it was all black, white, and gray. So consider putting in a zinger. Now we're going to go down to the table here and show 2 more important things when you're picking fabric for your quilt. Now earlier I said it was important to know what pattern you are using so we knew how to help you pick the right number of prints and the right number of blenders for your project. I have here 2 different 3 1-yard quilts, and if you look at this one here, I've got 2 prints and a background. If you look at this one, I've got 1 print and 2 blenders to go with it. So you couldn't really use the fabric from this 3 fabrics for this one, because then you'd have the green in the center and the 2 prints here. I don't think that would be as successful as this with the 2 prints and the 1 green. And here, of course, you just don't want to put this in a small space. You want to put these all in big spaces where you want to show off the whole print and not cut it up. One other note on this pattern is I said on the whiteboard, watch for directional fabrics. This pattern is written so that this rectangle is this way. After I cut out my pieces, I realized I had directional fabric and my flowers were all going to be on their side. So I had to redo it so that, I just oriented the block this way instead of this way so that my flowers were standing up instead of on their side. But it's just a little note to remember. Look to see if you have directional fabric so that you cut your pieces out correctly. Otherwise, you can solve your problem by orienting your blocks in a different way. The last thing I want to show you is where value is super important, and I've got 1 fail to show you and 1 success to show you. This is a pattern I've shown you many, many times. It's called Happy Holidays. I have them for practically every season in my own home on a round table. It's from Atkinson Designs, and the thing I have found in this pattern is these 2 accent pieces must be of equal value, and as you can see here, they're not. I got a super light and a super dark. And the other thing that's important is there's enough contrast from this one, which is called, I was going to say accent, but these might be called accent. At any rate, this piece here has to have contrast with this piece and with this piece. Yeah, you can see that. Okay, so it doesn't have contrast with this piece. They're too close. It has plenty of contrast with the light one. So what you end up seeing is this goofy shape here. It just stands out as that crazy looking shape all the way around. This is what I call a fail. So much so that I made a different Valentine's one for my house, and I use this as my example of the fail. Here's my fall Thanksgiving one, and as you can see, these two are of equal value, and there's good contrast between this and this one, and this and this one. And you see this shape, and you see this shape all the way around. This is a success. This is where I've got the values right. So that's the episode of choosing fabric. Let's get to the winner of the giveaway. The winner of the Jelly Roll Prayer is Sherbani. Sherbonney. Please email me your mailing address to quiltersheaveninc@gmail.com, and I will get that right out to you. This week's giveaway is a fat quarter packet. It's not a packet from a manufacturer. It's just 12 fat quarters. If these interest you, and I did try to check all of them to make sure that there wasn't a little bite taken out of any of them. Sometimes we get donations that a little hunk is taken out. If there is a hunk taken out, I apologize. I tried to check them all. But if you'd like to win this bundle, you know what to do. Like this video, comment on this video, and subscribe to my channel. And in the comment, write 12 fat quarters, and you will be entered to win. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, happy sewing.